Hey folks, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of the SmartOmi HAP-2. These are a pair of wireless Bluetooth headphones that uses this collarbone design that's reminiscent of the LG Tone. It's fairly comfortable, and I would really classify them as in-ear style headphones because you just have these tips which stick into the ears, and then this larger band, which looks like a pair of headphones, basically just rests on your neck when you're not using them. So they are pretty comfortable to use, and there's haptic feedback, so it vibrates when you get a new call. You can answer them since there's a microphone, and they make for a decent sports option if you are going to the gym or exercising with them. So let's take a quick look at the packaging first. Very simple. You can pick this up on Amazon with the links down below for sub $25, which is not too bad, but again, this design isn't anything super inspired. We've seen a few iterations of it already. We'll take a closer look at how it differentiates itself in a second. There's access to spare silicone tips that you get a more custom fit if you don't like what's provided already on the headsets, and there's also a standard micro USB cable for charging. It takes about 2 hours to completely charge, and afterwards you get roughly 6 hours of continuous audio playback before you need to recharge it again. Here's the user manual, some basic documentation including how to navigate the various controls and sync it up to an Android or iOS phone. So setting these things off to the side and taking a look at the design, there's access to the SmartOmi logo embedded onto the right arm of the sport band, and you can see that the inside of the band is made out of this soft touch rubber material, which makes it easier to grip and more comfortable to wear on the back of your neck. So after wearing this almost kind of like a necklace, you can pull out these individual in-ear tips, which are made out of this aluminum material with this in-ear design, pretty lightweight, and then of course wear this inside your ears. And in order to retract these wires, there's a simple key that you tap on in the very top that automatically spring assists the action of returning the ear tips. So it's fairly well designed. It's not using magnets like some earlier iterations that we saw, which I think is a good thing because those magnets were kind of flimsy and they lose their ability to really strongly attach the ear tips over time, and so they get kind of loose and wobbly, but this is more mechanical. You can see that one downside of this design is it's very glossy and attracts a fair amount of fingerprints as well as smudges, but it does look fairly elegant at the same time. On the other side, there's access to the controls, which allow you to turn the headset on, and then there's also access to dedicated volume rocker, which you can use to turn up the volume, as well as answer reject phone calls on the side here, and then when you're playing back music, you can also tap on this phone key to pause your music. When you turn it on, it enters the pairing mode by default, so you can then easily pair it with any standard Android or iOS device by turning on the Bluetooth settings on your phone. So no real complaints there. In terms of Bluetooth range, we're talking about 10 meters or roughly 33 feet. Overall, I'd say that the design is quite compact, it's easy to take with you, and they're pretty comfortable to wear for extended periods of time, such as 3 to 4 hours without noticing too much stress, since most of the weight is distributed and supported on the neck or the collarbone, instead of on the ears themselves. When it comes to the noise isolation, the tips themselves are quite comfortable despite not being memory foam, and they fit in relatively snugly. I noticed a little bit of sound that could leak out if you turn the volume up at the more extreme ends, but it overall works pretty well, and I had no real complaints. It's not an active noise cancelling pair of headphones, so do know that if you are planning on using these on an airplane or somewhere noisy, you can still kind of hear the engine in the background. When it comes to the performance, I was fairly pleased with these. In terms of battery life, I would say that I reached actually around 7 hours in my testing, which is about average for a pair of wireless Bluetooth headsets. And when it came to the actual sound quality, when I turned the volume all the way up or all the way down, it was very hard to discern the hissing, slight staticky nature of using wireless headsets, which are always going to not be quite as audiophile grade as wired headsets. All in all, these are clear sounding in-ear style headphones. They offer good mids, which are, the forte. Bass is a little bit lacking. It could have stronger lower frequency performance, and highs are good, but sometimes they're a little rounded and lose a little bit of the detail. Again, they're not audiophile grade headsets, so for general music listening, for EDM music, for pop, electronic, folk music, I think that you will be pleased with the experience here, especially they get quite loud, so if you are exercising, you can get immersed in the music without any problems. When it comes to answering phone calls, the mic on here isn't noise cancelling, but it does work fairly well even outdoors. It picks up your voice without any issues, and I had no real complaints when testing it using a full sample phone calls. So all in all, these are solid headsets. I would say that they don't add anything extremely new to the market that we haven't seen before, although the design is slightly different. It's mostly an aesthetic thing, but you can see the slightly rounded curve on each arm, which is something I think that SmartOmi added to their version of this collarbone headset that I haven't seen before, but everything else is mostly consistent. So if you are looking for a fairly solid pair of in-ear style headphones and you want something that's a bit more comfortable for long-term listening, but you don't mind having a slightly larger design, this might be an option to consider. You can learn more info in our upcoming article, but this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.